Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krita Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Today it happens to be Monday, and we are doing one thing doesn't become another. Page number 163 in this book. In your book also, if you have the same book, then it is 163 page number. 42nd verse onwards we have to do. A thing cannot become something else. The impossibility of one being another. The impossibility of one being another. That is the chapter. That is the section. That is the first we take in 42nd verse. First we take the second half of the line, first line. Swarupam yasya yad bhavet. What is the nature of the whatever is the nature of the thing? Just nature means nature is different from changing qualities. Changing quality changes, whereas the nature doesn't change. Just as the fire's quality can change, its look may change, but its nature doesn't change. Its look may change, its nature doesn't change. Its look is its round ember, etc. It can change. If it catches fire of a stick, a round stick, then it is a round fire. Then if it is a long stick, then it is a long fire. In this manner, the fire's qualities can change. Fire's nature doesn't change. The heat cannot change. Whatever, whether it is round fire or long fire, it doesn't matter. But the fire means it has to be hot. Similarly, the sun, the changing qualities of the sun are round, etc. That can change. The changing qualities are different from the unchanging nature. Nature never changes. Nature never changes. And this you have to understand the difference between the changing qualities and the unchanging nature. And therefore, the sun's nature is the luminosity. That in the same manner, the candle's swarupa is luminosity. The candle may be made of anything, but the candle, when it is lit up, its nature is swarupa. Similarly, swarupa means its swarupa is prakasha. Prakasha is the swarupa. Prakasha is the nature. And therefore, that nature is independent. Na tasyaiva anyataha apeksha. The nature does not depend upon something else. The quality can change. Quality can change, but the nature cannot change. Quality can change, the nature cannot change. The nature cannot depend upon anything. The nature does not depend upon anything. The luminosity of the sun does not depend upon anything. Similarly, the heat of the fire does not depend upon anything. In the same manner, the avagati, which is the nature of prakashantara drishya, na prakashosti kaschana. If it is prakasha, if it depends upon another prakasha, if it is illumined by another prakasha, then it is not prakasha. It is not the illumined. It is not. If the sun were to be illumined by somebody, illumined by the candle, then the sun cannot be of the nature of luminosity, And therefore, whatever is illumined has to be inert, has to be known. Prakashantara drishya na prakashosti kashchana. A prakasha that is illumined cannot be prakasha. It is not prakasha, it is aprakasha. The inert can be illumined. The illuminar is always prakashaha, and therefore the just as the luminosity cannot be illumined, it does not depend upon something, and the heat cannot depend upon something. In the same manner, avagati means awareness, which is the nature of the Atma, cannot be illumined by something. And yet one knows it is unknown, it is unillumined, and yet it is known. I am there. I am there. In that manner, it is known. It is known as na idantaya. It is not as illumined, it is known. As illuminar, it is known. As the subject, it is known. The subject knowledge also, when you objectify the object, it is pramana siddham. The objects are pramana siddham. The subject is swata siddham. The subject is swata siddham. And therefore, it is any swata siddham does not depend upon another illumina. Does not depend upon heat or illumina, sunlight or consciousness. One consciousness does not illumine another consciousness. There is no consciousness illumining another consciousness. There is no such a thing. Just as the sunlight is not illumined by another light, in the same manner, the heat is not burnt by another heat. In the same manner, the consciousness is not illumined by another consciousness. In the same manner, yes. Therefore, but yet you know you exist, and therefore your existence does not depend upon anything else. Your swarupa is avagati. Avagati is not really dependent upon anything. You are not different from your nature. Even though we say the sun's nature is luminosity, that luminosity is called the sun. The sun's nature is luminosity. It is as though an adjective. The nature also is referred to as an adjective, but it is not an adjective place. It is its nature. And the sun means the luminosity. The sun means the luminosity. Atma means the avagati. Atma means the avagati. Avagati means consciousness. And that consciousness is not illumined by anything. And therefore, that consciousness, whether it is there, if it cannot be illumined, how do we know that it is there? The conscious being knows that I am there. Consciousness knows, and therefore the Sota Siddham also is known. It knows itself as something that is there, and therefore the existence of consciousness is known by consciousness without objectification. Without objectification, the subject knows it himself without objectifying the subject. Yes, this you have to know, ji. Vyakti syad aprakashasya प्रकाश आत्म समागमात् प्रकाशस्तु अर्क कार्य स्यादिति मिथ्यावचो यथा मिथ्यावचः. Vyakti means Vyakti is different from Shakti ji. So when we say Sarva Shaktiman, it is not almighty. He has got all the faculties as the potential in him. The entire universe is there as a potential, just as the pot is potentially there in the clay. In the same manner, the universe is there potentially present in consciousness. That potential presence is what is called Shakti. Potential presence is called Shakti. And Vyakti means manifestation. And between manifestation and being seen are one and the same. Being seen and being remembered is one and the same, and the manifestation are one and the same. So I call it manifestation. Manifestation means being seen. You see, does it become manifest and then you see it, or you see it and then it becomes manifest? I say it is not like that. There are two words for the same thing. It is just like saying, does darkness go first, or knowledge, light comes first? Does darkness go first or light comes first? I say light comes, it's not first or second. There is no sequence. There are two words for the same thing. Light coming is called the darkness going. The going of darkness is otherwise called the light coming. And therefore, there are two words for the same thing. There is no sequence of events. They are not two events, please. Darkness going, and then even though we call it as darkness going, dispelled and going away, and the light coming, they are like two events. They are not events. In the same manner here also, it is said Shakti means being seen, being remembered is otherwise called Vyakti. Vyakti means manifestation. Vyakti syad aprakashasya. All that manifests is only the inert, the aprakashasya Vyakti. That which is inert alone becomes unmanifest, becomes manifest and unmanifest. In Sushupti, whatever disappears alone is seen in the waking state, alone is remembered in the waking state, and all that is seen in the waking state, all that is remembered in the waking state is gone, becomes unmanifest in the night, and therefore you remain yourself. You don't experience what is not there. You experience what is there. Like when the thought is there, you experience the thought. When there is no other thought, then you experience yourself. The experiencer alone experiences himself. And therefore it is Advitiyam. Sayad aprakashasya. Prakasha atma samagamat. And when it is when it comes in contact with the light, then it is illumined. तत् प्रकाशात्म समागमात्म prakasha. It is illumined when it comes in contact with the light. All that manifests is only an object. An object becomes illumined only when it comes in contact with the light. Prakasha. Arkakarya syaditi mithya vachokyata. Arkakarya means the effect of the sun. The sun falling on the light falling on the prakasha falling on the light and the prakasha falling on the objects on the objects in the waking state is the effect of arkakarya, is the result of the sun, is a mithya vachaha. It is a wrong action. It is not really the effect. The sunlight, to be light is its nature. It is not its effect. The sunlight is what falls on the objects is the luminosity of the sun, and that luminosity is the nature of the sun, and therefore it is not its effect, it is its nature, and therefore don't think that it is its effect. It is not its effect, it is its nature. What is its nature? The luminosity that falls on the objects. The luminosity that falls on the objects is the nature of the sun. Luminosity is the nature of the sun. It is not the effect of the sun. Iti mithya. It's a false statement to say that it is an effect of the sun. It is a false statement. It is a false statement. Arkakari, prakashastu arkakarya syaditi mithya vachokyataha. And therefore, it is mithya vachaha. Therefore, it is not an effect of the sun. It is the prakasha, it is the swarupa, it is the nature of the sun. And anything that is manifest in the objects, even the sun, it becomes illumined by consciousness, avagati. I know, I come to know. And therefore, all the objects are illumined by avagati only. They are known. To be known is what is called to be illumined. To be known is called what is called to be illumined. If this is so, then everything is illumined by me only. Time is illumined by me. Time is known by me. Past is known to me. Present is known to me. Future is known to me. The future also I can think about. The past is remembered. The present is presence of one's own existence. The past and the future are inseparable from the presence of one's existence, and therefore there is no, you don't that every object is known to the sunlight is also false. That it is illumined by the sun is also false. It is not illumined by the sun. Luminosity falls on the objects. The luminosity that falls on the objects is the nature of the sun, is not its effect. And therefore, you have to understand that in the same manner, to be known is different from to be illumined by the light. The sun I can be aware of, the sun cannot be aware of me. And therefore, the sun is also, the physical light is something different from the conscious light. The physical light is something that illumines the objects, but it doesn't know the objects. But I know the objects. Consciousness knows the objects. That is the real luminosity. Consciousness is the real luminosity. I come to know all the objects. That knowing is what is called consciousness. Knowing is what is called luminosity. Knowing is what is called luminosity. And therefore, in the 44th verse, it is said, Yato bhutva abhutva bhaved jacha. What was not there before, abhutva. What was not there, abhutva means having not been. If it comes to be existent, then it is called bhaved yacha tasya karyamitishyate. Karyamishyate. Anything that becomes like a pot was not there, pot becomes manifest. It may have been potentially present, but then it was not there. It becomes potentially present. And therefore, what was not there, it becomes, what was not there. Mritika is the Swarupam. Mritika is the Swarupam. That is not created. Mritika is the Swarupam. The Swarupam is not something that is born. An object is born. That way the creation is, the whole creation is born. It is born, and in the same way as the pot. The universe is born. The universe is created by Parmeshwara. Parmeshwara, it is there in the potentially as present in the Parmeshwara. And Parmeshwara, it becomes a manifest. The universe becomes manifest. And therefore, if we can say it is the universe is the effect, Parmeshwara is the cause. And therefore, it was not there. The universe was not there in the night when I go to sleep or when I die. There is no universe. I don't see any universe. And that universe is reborn again, is created by me, is seen by me, is remembered by me, and it is created by Parameshwara. In this manner, we can say. And that Swarupam, but the luminosity of the sun does not become abhutva. It is not something that was non-existent and then it becomes existent. And therefore, it is said, Swarupatvat, because the luminosity is the Swarupam of the nature of the sun. There cannot be any sun without the Swarupam. Without the Swarupam, there cannot be any sun. The sun is there. The sun is there. The sun is the sun. The sun's source, the very luminosity is the sun, and therefore the sun cannot be there. The sun cannot be there without the nature, and therefore Swarupatvat abhutva na prakasho jayate ravehe. The sun's luminosity, having not been there, it cannot become born in the sun. When the sun is synonymous with the nature, and therefore the nature is synonymous with the Ravi. Ravi means the sun. The Ravi's nature is not born. Ravi's nature is not. Ravi's nature is not born in the Ravi. In the Ravi is born. Ravi is in the night. Ravi, along with its nature, it was potentially present in the Atma. In the morning, it is created, and it is seen, and it is remembered. And but then when it is seen and when it is remembered, you cannot, it is not an effect. It is not an effect. It is not a creation. It's not a creation. Abhutva, the prakashaha, the swarupa, the luminosity cannot be, the sun is there, but there is no luminosity, you can't say. The luminosity having not been there, it becomes created in the sun. In this manner, you can't say. And therefore, the sun, this when the sun, when an object is manifest, the nature cannot be born at that time. The nature is synonymous with the object, synonymous, and therefore स्यादिति मिथ्यावचो ह्यतः यतो भूत्वा भवेद्यच्च तस्य कार्यमिति उच्यते. When the nature is born of something, when the nature is having not been, if it is born, then it is called its effect, the Ravi's effect, the sun's effect. But the sun's effect is not there. The sun's effect is the luminosity is its nature, and therefore the third verse is a second 43rd verse is explained properly in the 44th verse. Tat karyam ishyate. If the luminosity is explained, is if the luminosity of the sun is not, doesn't fall, it's not the effect of the sun, it is the nature of the sun. And the nature of the sun having not been there, it cannot be created when the sun is manifest. In the manifest sun, it cannot be created because it is synonymous with the sun. Sattamate prakashasya kartadi ityadi ishyate. Karta adityadihi ishyate. Adityadihi, when the sun is there, when the sun is in relation to something, when it illumines the pot, then we say it is karta. When the sun illumines the pot, then it is called karta. But when the sun does not illumine the pot, then we say it is luminosity. It is luminosity, and therefore this has to satta matre in its own existence. The sun in the satta matre means in its own existence. In the sun's existence, the pot is there. The pot, in relation to the pot, it is the karta, it is the illuminar, it is the illuminar of the pot. Illuminar means it is karta. Adityadihi, adityadihi, adityadihi means the sun, etc., are called karta. And similarly, the one who knows, if he knows the pot, then in relation to the pot, something, an object is called karta. In the same manner, here also it is said, Ghatadi Vyaktitaha. When I see the pot, etc., Ghatadihi, Ghata, Pata, Mata, Tata, like any object, if I see, then Yadvatu Tadvadeva Tadvad Bodhatmani Ishyatam. In the same manner, consciousness also is called karta, and therefore every jiva looks a karta because he is always in relation to something. In the whole way, in the waking, he says he is in relation to the waking objects. He is in relation to the dream objects. He is in relation to the darkness, and therefore he is in relation to the waking objects and the dream objects, and therefore he thinks that he is a jiva in the waking state. In the dream state also he thinks that he is only a jiva. He is only limited. But in the deep sleep state, he is not in relation to any object, and therefore he is not a jiva. He is Parameshwara, and so he is indeed Parameshwara. He is indeed the source of the whole universe, and therefore he is indeed Sushupta at that time. He is not a jiva. He is Param Brahman himself. He is Advitiyam, and therefore, without being in experience, if it is not within the experience, if it is not recognized that it is not within the experience, that it is within the experience. Advitiyatvam is within the experience. And therefore the Vedanta teaches the Atma, the Advaitam. Otherwise it cannot be taught. And therefore Ghatadi Vyaktitaha Yadvat Tadvat Bodhani Bodhatmani Ishyatam. And in this manner let it be understood in the conscious self, in the awareness and the awareful self. The self also in relation to the pot alone, when the Aditya in relation to the what it illumines, it is called Kartadi. Karta. It is Karta means it is the doer. It is an agent of doer. It is a Jivatma. It is an individual in relation to something. In relation to something. Similarly, the self is called in relation to something. It is called Karta. In unrelated to something, it is Advitiyam. And this is said. Bilat sarpasya niryane. Bilat means from the whole. Bilat means from the whole. When the whole there is a hole in on the supposing you say on the pathway there is a hole, and from that hole the snake comes. As soon as it comes out, it gets illumined by the sunlight. Bilat niryane means Bilat means from the bill sarpasya sarpaka niryane. Niryane means when it comes out. Suryaha yadvat prakashakaha. Suryaha, the sun illumines it. As in relation to the sun, it is the illuminar. In relation to the sun, it is the illuminar. That is called kartadi. In relation to the sun, it is called karta, illuminar. But unrelated to anything, it is the luminosity. It still is there. It is luminosity. That non-illumination of the object looks like darkness. Unilluminedness looks like darkness. And therefore, in the same manner here also in the deep sleep state, as also a person doesn't see an object, it is Advaitam. It is luminosity. And that luminosity looks darkness when an object is not seen. Even now you can understand that when you don't know an object, it looks darkness. And therefore, Bodha Rupataha. In the same manner, Surya Yadvat Prakashakaha, when the sun, when the snake comes out of the bill, it comes out, the Surya Yadvat Prakashakaha, the Surya illumines it. In the same manner, Prayatnena vina, without any effort, choicelessly, Tadvajnata Atma Prabodha Rupotaha. In the same manner, when a thought comes, it is choicelessly illumined by awareness. And therefore, your awareness. Therefore, the thought, you don't choose to illuminate. Even if you don't want to know it, you will come to know it. And therefore, prayatnena vina, choicelessly it is illumined. What is illumined? A thought, any object, when it comes in contact with you, it is illumined choicelessly. Prayatnena vina. Prayatnena vina means without any effort. Even the sun illumines it choicelessly. The snake gets illumined when it comes out of the bill. By the sunlight also, it choicelessly gets illumined. In the same manner, when the thought comes out, when the thought is known, when the thought comes into existence, it gets illumined by the consciousness. Consciousness is your nature, your swarupa. Consciousness is your swarupa. In the same manner, just as the bill has to be understood, in the same just as the snake is understood coming out of the bill, in the same manner, the thought is also understood as the thought is understood. Thought is understood in by the awareness alone, choicelessly. The thought, when it rises, It is you don't decide to know it or not. You if thought were not known. If thought were choiceless, because it is choicelessly known, and therefore some people are restless choicelessly. Why? Because their thoughts are known all the time, and therefore it is impossible not to know the thought. The thought as it appears, it is illumined by awareness, choicelessly. And therefore, because it is choiceless, and therefore your restlessness also is choiceless. In the same manner here also it is said, dagdha evam ushnaha. Dagdha eva ushnaha. Ushnaha means the heat burns. The heat is dagdha. It is the illuminer as though. It is the illuminer as though. Dagdha eva ushnaha. Sattayam. In the existence of the Ushnata, when there is something to burn, it burns. It burns the stick, it burns the grass, etc. It burns the grass. When in relation to something, it is a burner. That is what it means. Dagdha eva evam ushnaha. Evam, in the same manner, dagdha eva ushnaha, evam ushnaha. Ushnaha means the heat. The heat which is the nature of the fire, and the heat which is the nature of the fire, that nature, that heat, it becomes dagdha. Dagdha means the burner. Dagdha means the burner. What is it? What is it that is burnt? When you throw some fuel in it, it burns it, and firewood into it, it burns the firewood. Then it becomes dagdha. In the same manner, dagdha evam ushnaha sattayam, when it exists. Yadvat bodhatmani ishyatam. In the same manner, understand, in relation to something, Atma also illumines something. Atma illumines something. In relation to something, it illumines something. It is the illuminer. Otherwise, it becomes luminosity. In the same manner, the heat is a burner. Burner, if there is some fuel to be burnt. When it is quiet, it is it is heat only. It is heat. There is only heat. It is burning is different from it is heat. It is hot. It is heat. It is heat. In the same manner, it is in the deep sleep state, it is luminosity. In the waking state and the dream state, it is a knower of objects. In the same manner, here also the Krishna, and the third example is given here. Satyeva yad upadhav. Upadhi means if there is an upadhi, means if there is something to burn, satyeva upadhav. When the upadhi is there, when there is in relation to something, it is the karta. In relation to something, it is karta. In relation to something, it is karta. That is yad upadhav tu jnate sarpa iva uttite. Sarpa comes out of the hole, and the sarpa, as soon as it comes out of the hole, it is choicelessly illumined by the sun. We say the sun is the illuminer. The sun is the illuminer. The sun is the illuminer, we say. But when it is not in relation to something, we don't say the sun is not there, non-existent. Even though it is the illumined is not there, the luminosity is there. When the luminosity is there, in the same manner, Atma, when it is luminosity, it is luminosity only. When in relation to something, it is a knower of something. When there is nothing to be known, then it alone is. When the thought is there, it knows the thought choicelessly. When there is no thought, then it experiences itself. That is non-duality. And therefore, it is said so. In the same manner here, there are three examples here. These three examples are, one is the Adityadi Karta. Adityadi is Karta. When the Aditya in relation to some pot, It is satta matra means in existence. It is existent, but it is called the karta. But if it is there is not in relation to something, it is luminosity. In the same manner, Atma. Here also, the sun is the illuminer of the snake when the snake comes out of the bill. But then, if on itself, by itself, it is luminosity only. It is non-existent, no? It is luminosity. In the same manner, Atma also is Avagati. Avagati alone is there. It is non-dual. If it is not in relation to something, in relation to something, it is Karta. In relation to something, it is Karta. But unrelated to anything, it is Akarta. It is only is. In the same manner, here also heat is another example that is given. Third example, the heat is something that is the heat in relation to something. It is a burner, but by itself it is heat alone. In the same manner, Atma also is in relation to something. It is a karta. It is a jiva. Unrelated to anything, it is Ishvaraha. And then the more of it we will see in the next class. Thank you, Ji. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much, Ji.